Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Home. I am in my pantry because I have to get some stuff for our supper tonight. I am grocery shopping in my pantry. We are in the pantry challenge, so I am trying to get a supper made really early today. Well, not really early, it's almost 3 o'clock. But I'm trying to get it made a little bit before Steven gets home because once he does get home, we actually have to go to a project and get some work done on that. And we have been doing that a lot lately and coming home really late, and I have zero energy to cook, but I have to because we're in the pantry challenge. Anyways, I'm trying to get ahead of myself and get some supper started early. We went out for supper sometime in December. I cannot remember at all where the restaurant was that we went to, but Steven likes to get a soup as an appetizer, and this one particular restaurant had this soup, and it was like a smoked Gouda tomato soup. And he said it was probably the best soup that he's ever had, and I have to try to make it. So I found a recipe online for a smoked Gouda tomato soup. I don't have a lot of the ingredients. I don't have three of the major ingredients in it. So I'm going to try to make my own version of like a smoked tomato soup. So I am in my pantry trying to get the ingredients that I do have to try to make this soup. I will leave this recipe linked for you guys in the video description, the recipe that's giving me the inspiration for this recipe. So it calls for two 14.5-ounce can of fire roasted tomatoes. I don't have that, but I do have quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit. I do have some diced tomatoes. So I'm going to grab 2 pints of my regular just diced tomatoes. No seasoning in them. They're just diced tomatoes. And then it says a 12-ounce jar of roasted red peppers. We do not have the roasted red peppers, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to improvise, and I'm going to grab some of my frozen bell peppers that I have. Actually, I don't think these are bell peppers. I think these were Jimmy Nadero pepper. Anyways, I sliced my peppers up and just put them in the freezer. And we have a lot of peppers. This is all peppers and corn. And I think there's a package of onions in there. But this is what our freezer's looking like at kind of the beginning of the pantry challenge. We've got a lot of onions because a lot of my onions didn't store, so I had to pre-cut them. I think I have 3 gallon-sized bags of onions. And then we have a whole bunch of these bagged peppers. So we'll get some of those used. What I'm going to do to try to mimic the fire roasted peppers is I'm going to take these and I'm going to saute them with a little bit of butter and some smoked paprika. And that should hopefully give me kind of the smoked pepper flavor, hopefully. And then we need 3 cups of chicken stock. So just grab some of my chicken broth here. Tomato paste. We need an onion, so I'm going to grab an onion that, again, is not the best shape, but I really want to get them used, so we'll grab this one. We got garlic in the freezer. So the smoked Gouda cheese is the other ingredient that I do not have, but we do have this smoked cheddar that we got from Azure in our last Azure haul. I really wanted to like this cheddar because it was a little bit cheaper than the regular smoked cheddar that I get. This Petaluma Gold Company. It's not my favorite. I unfortunately cannot give it a good review. I do not like it. Steven actually likes it, but maybe I'm just a picky cheese eater, but it's not my favorite. I rather go with the little bit more expensive kind that I really love, but yeah. Oh, sadly, I don't have a positive review for it. So we're going to use it today in the soup because it's a smoked cheddar and it's a cheese and it'll work. We need to get this stuff all prepped and in the pot. So because I have to roast these, I'm going to get this done first. Well, not roast them. I'm going to mimic roasting them. So I'm going to get my smoked paprika out right here. We also said we needed some other spices. What were those? Might as well get them out while we're right here at the spice thing. So oregano. Every video of me cooking is standing here for 10 minutes looking for my stuff. This winter has been hilarious because I have wanted to remodel the whole house this winter. For some reason, I'm just in this phase of life where I just want to rip my whole kitchen out and redo it. So one thing I want to do is actually rip out all of my upper cabinets. I want to get rid of this microwave, and I just want to kind of have open shelving. I am kind of a really organized person, with the exception of the spice cabinet. I'm typically a very well organized person. I like to have all my plates organized, my bowls, and I really love to be able just to display my Pyrex bowls that I use every day. And so I wouldn't mind having the open shelving because I think it would make it so much easier. I don't know how easy it would make it to find the 100 spices that I have in here. I don't know if that's the best solution. But anyways, lately I've just wanted to remodel my bathroom. I've wanted to paint our bedroom. I've just wanted to redo everything. So what do we need to do first? We need to get these in a skillet with some smoked paprika. Okay, guess what? In true Krista fashion, I did not read the whole recipe in its entirety, and I should have started this morning, but I was really busy with work, so I couldn't do that. This recipe is a crock pot recipe and takes approximately 5 hours to cook. So that's not going to happen today because it's already 3 o'clock, and yeah, we don't have 5 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get this supper started. I'm going to cook the majority of it tonight. We will not have this for supper tonight. I'm going to have to find something else to have for dinner. And then what I'm going to do is put it into my fridge overnight, and in the morning I will take it out, and then I'll finish cooking it. And then we'll be able to have this for supper tomorrow night. And then tomorrow I don't have to worry about supper because it's already pre-prepped, which is kind of a good thing, I guess. I don't know, but I need supper for tonight. Now that we're pivoting a little bit, let's get these roasted. So I already have them sliced into thin slices. That's going to be fine for this. I'm going to get this turned on, get it heated up, and then we'll add some butter. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of butter into my cast iron skillet and get that a little melted first. And I have my skillet on a medium-high heat. So that's melted. We're gonna add all of our frozen peppers in there. While we're waiting for those peppers to cook up a little bit, I'm just gonna get my onion sliced, get that ready to go. And I'll come back tomorrow and show you guys what the finished product looks like, because that's kind of disappointing to show you just the prep of it and not show you the second half of it. I'll wash my onion. Okay, these peppers are now starting to get to the point where they're sauteing. So I'm gonna add some smoked paprika to these. So we have, I would say maybe, I don't know, before they were sauteed down, maybe 2 cups of peppers in here. So to this 2 cups of peppers, I'm gonna add probably approximately 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. I'm just gonna coat them with it, because again, I wanna mimic that smoky, charred taste of the peppers. We're going for a smoked tomato flavor, so you kind of want everything to have that taste to it. If you do not have smoked paprika, you could get away with also using like a liquid smoke. I have this one that I really love, and then we also have this one. So either one of these would also work really well to saute your peppers in and add this to the soup to give it that smoky flavor. I might end up adding a little bit of that liquid smoke to my soup because again, we're not using the fire roasted tomatoes, we're just using a regular diced tomato. So I might add that in there. Ooh, these are starting to burn a little bit. I'm gonna turn that down to about a low heat. And we're gonna end up pureeing this soup tomorrow, so I don't mind that these are in really big pieces. And I'm not gonna be overly concerned with getting my onion chopped into small pieces also. Actually going to turn these off because they're starting to get charred, which is perfect. We don't want to burn them. We just want to char them. For some reason in my brain, another word for charred is burned. I just think when I hear the word charred, I just think in my head, do you mean burnt? You want to burn the peppers? Maybe it does mean burned. Anyways, I'm not trying to burn them. So we also have to saute these onions. All right, so we're not going to use the actual slow cooker tonight. So I'm going to put it over here, but we are going to use this base. Let's get the peppers added into here. We're gonna get our other ingredients added. I'm gonna add a quart of chicken stock to this, or my chicken broth. Now it does only call for 3 cups, but I don't know, we'll add a quart in, it's easier. I think a quart will be good. And then we're gonna add our diced tomatoes. I'm gonna add the diced tomatoes with their juices, so that's gonna be even more juicy in here. And again, I'm adding 2 pints of my diced tomatoes. On last week's video, I actually showed you guys what I do to save my tomato paste. I don't have any in the freezer right now, so I'm gonna open a new jar, or at least try to open a new jar. Okay, and then we're gonna put in 2 tablespoons of this. Stir that. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of dried basil. 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. The recipe says 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm probably gonna add 3 teaspoons of salt because my broth is unsalted. If I was using a salted broth, I probably would just stick to the 1.5. And then it says 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. So we need to get our onions and our garlic sauteed. So I'm gonna take another little bit of butter. I did rinse my cast iron out after we had the peppers in there because I didn't want any of that smoked burnt taste on these onions and garlic. So I probably added about maybe a teaspoon and a half of butter. And then we'll get that melted. Turn my burner on here. And then we'll get some garlic out of the freezer. Now, how many cloves does it say? It says 3 cloves of garlic. You know us, if you watch my channel, you know we love our garlic. So I am gonna probably use 2 of these little things. I'm gonna put my onions in first because I don't wanna burn my garlic. Garlic only takes literally a minute to saute. So if you put them in with the onions, you're most likely gonna burn your garlic and you'll get a yucky taste. I think we need more butter. Added another teaspoon. One thing I love about the Pantry Challenge is getting all of my jars put into the dishwasher. I feel like it was a successful pantry meal when I have more than 4 jars in my dishwasher after a meal. Guess who just burnt the onions? This burner gets so hot so quickly. The onions burnt. Oh, do I use them? I think they're savable. They're technically charred. Okay, we need to add some more butter in this. I think that's the problem. I should have probably started with a tablespoon of butter. They're pretty soft. I'm just gonna saute them for maybe like another minute and just keep stirring them so they don't burn. And then we'll add the garlic in. It's savable. They're not like black. Some of them are. I don't know why this burner is getting so hot. I now have it down to a low heat. It's just super hot. Okay, and then we're gonna add our garlic into here. Now that these onions are mostly done, and this garlic's frozen, so it'll have to melt down a minute. I'm gonna keep stirring because I don't want to burn anything else. I really don't want to burn the garlic because that is not a good charred taste. You know what? I'm actually gonna turn the burner completely off because this cast iron is holding enough heat. I don't need that burner on even more. It'll continue to cook because this cast iron's hot. Okay, that's good. Garlic's all cooked. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up. I think it is over there. There is a nice, beautiful smoke haze in here. I think we're in the single digits, but I'm gonna open a window anyways because I need to get some of this smoke out. Let's add our charred onions to the soup. And we'll stir them in. So that's all we're gonna add to this for right now. We're gonna put the lid on it and we're gonna put it into the fridge. And then that way in the morning, we'll just take it out of the fridge and then we'll put it into the crock pot. Okay, so supper's prepped for tomorrow night, but what are we gonna do for tonight? Let's try to do something with canned turkey. Let's see what we can do with canned turkey. Let's use modern technology and see what ChatGPT says to do. What meal can I make with canned turkey meat? Turkey pot pie is a really great idea, but Steven won't eat it because he doesn't like peas. And I honestly don't like a pot pie without peas in it, so I'm not gonna do that. Tacos? Can we do tacos with turkey meat? Is avocados right? I don't like to have tacos without avocados. I'm bougie like that. I just took these out of the fridge last night. I don't think they're ready. Okay, so tacos are on the list. The reason I'm trying to use canned meat is because it's already pretty much pre-cooked. All I have to do is just warm it up. So I think what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get my cookbook out because I have an idea. I think we're gonna do an Alfredo. We're gonna coin the sausage up. So we're just gonna slice it and make little tiny round coins with it. I'm gonna make an Alfredo sauce, and we're just gonna have some pasta with the Alfredo sauce and put the sausage in it, and that will be good for tonight. And Alfredo sauce is super easy to make, provided I can find the recipe. I just found a recipe for a jalapeno ranch dressing. That might be good to make, and then put ground turkey in that, and then put that over pasta. I don't know. Steven just pulled in, so we can ask him and see what his opinion is. So we're either gonna do the Alfredo sauce or we're gonna do the jalapeno dip thing with turkey on top of pasta. So let's wait for him to come in the house and we'll see. So I need your opinion for supper. So I started to prep a smoked Gouda tomato soup. I realized once I started making the recipe that it takes 5 hours in the crock pot.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I've already started it, so that's gonna be supper for tomorrow night. It's already pre-made. Anyways, so for tonight's supper, I don't know what to do for supper. There's two different options I can do. First option, what I can do is I can make an Alfredo sauce and put coin sausages in it, and we can have it with pasta. Or the second option is I could do this creamy jalapeno dip. It's like a dip, but it's not really a dip. It's kind of saucy. So I could do this and then maybe put like some chopped up turkey in it and then maybe do that on pasta. So it has to be.
Why don't you just do that with the coin sausage?
The
Jalapeno?
with the sausage?
Yeah.
With a Polish sausage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's experiment. I don't know.
Okay.
Experiment. Yay.
So he says to do the jalapeno dip. It's not, you can use it as a sauce. It says you can use it as a salad dressing, sauce, or a dip. We'll try that and see. I've never made this recipe before, so it's really experiment. So no Alfredo sauce. Although the Alfredo sauce is excellent to use if you have a whole bunch of milk that potentially is going to be going bad soon. That milk Alfredo sauce is so easy to make. I have not bought canned Alfredo sauce in years because it honestly is super, super simple to make. It's literally just butter, Parmesan, and milk. But we'll do the jalapeno dip and we'll do it together. So let's get started. Okay, so we are going to get the sausage out of the freezer, and I need to get some buttermilk from in here. I always buy buttermilk because I love making buttermilk pancakes and waffles. So I always have buttermilk on hand. And for this, it's only $2.50 at my local dairy. So I always stay stocked up on that. And it lasts forever. Like this is good until February, mid-February. Perfect. So we have that. And then we need some sausage. We are going to use these sausages that I got from Costco. So we're just going to use one pack because it's just the two of us. So these 4 sausages will be good enough. I tried to make tater tots in the air fryer last night. So the tater tots that I showed you guys how to make on a video that I did, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, depending when this video comes out. Anyways, they froze together in a clump because I did not let them flash freeze individually for long enough. So when I put these in my air fryer last night, it just turned to mashed potatoes. I think one thing that I needed to actually add to these that I completely forgot to add was a binding agent such as an egg. If I would have added 2 eggs into this mixture, it would have helped them kind of stay together a little bit more. So next time I make them in the air fryer, I'm gonna let them thaw out a little bit so that I can kind of break them up a bit because they're just a big, huge clump. I was so sad last night. I honestly couldn't get over it. Steven's like, you just need to get over it. I'm like, no, I can't get over it because I showed everybody how to make them and I was so excited about it. And now I have mashed potato mess in my air fryer. But anyways, if you're making them, just add 2 eggs to the mixture and it will bind them together and hopefully prevent that from happening. Also make sure that they're completely rock frozen when you're individually freezing them before you clump them together in a freezer bag and vacuum seal them and really make them into a frozen ball. I also ran back into the freezer to grab some cilantro. We don't have any fresh cilantro right now because it's sub-zero outside, it's freezing, so all of my cilantro died. But I like to freeze my cilantro because when it comes time to make my salsa and stuff, like when my tomatoes are ready in the garden, my cilantro unfortunately isn't ready because it's way too hot to grow cilantro in the summer here. So I freeze it so I always have it available. So I am in the pantry and we are gonna grab some diced chilies. I would like to use a mild, why are these red? We're canning red peppers for my mild stuff. We are going to add a can of mild chili peppers. I'm guessing we're gonna need jalapenos as well. So we will get some of our jalapenos. Now these are a pickled jalapeno and not just like a regular jalapeno. Let me see what the recipe says because I do have some diced jalapenos in my freezer. So if it wants us just to use like a jalapeno pepper, I'll go and grab my frozen stuff. No, it says a 1 4-ounce can of chopped jalapenos. This is more than 4 ounces. This is a pint, so it's a lot of ounces. This is a 4-ounce jar of green chilies, so this is the difference. We'll empty this out and then we'll put enough jalapenos in here. Well, that's how we'll measure it. And then we need some ranch seasoning. Okay, we're gonna use a packet of this. So I'm gonna do this in a blender. If you don't have a blender, you could do this in a food processor also. I would say you definitely need to have a blender or a food processor to do this because you wanna get it really, really creamy. So to get started, we're gonna add 1 cup of mayonnaise. We're just gonna use this stuff. And then we're gonna do 1/3 cup of buttermilk. Stuff is super, super thick. I find that this stuff is almost like a yogurt. It's definitely more thick than the stuff that I buy at the grocery store. Hopefully that doesn't make a big difference in this. We have to add a little bit more liquid at the end, then that's fine. And then we need 1/3 cup of sour cream. Right, then we're gonna add our can of diced chilies. If you want this to be super spicy, then use the spicier chilies. But those jalapenos are pretty spicy, so we're just gonna use mild. Now we're gonna keep this container out because we need to measure out 4 ounces of jalapenos. Just fill this 4-ounce container up with the jalapenos. Add that to the blender. Add another jar to the dishwasher. And then it says 1/3 cup of cilantro. So I'm just gonna break off some cilantro. We like cilantro, so for us it's okay if it's more than 1/3 cup. And I'm using stems and all because it's getting blended up. And to freeze my cilantro, all as I do is I just take a cookie sheet, a lined cookie sheet, lay my cilantro flat on the cookie sheet, flash freeze it, and then I add it to bags. You don't need to blanch it ahead of time. It's so easy to preserve. So I like to have that in my freezer for situations like this, where we're in the dead of winter. And then we're gonna add some garlic. It says 1 teaspoon of garlic, but we're gonna add maybe 2 teaspoons. And then 1 packet of ranch dressing. So we're gonna use this stuff. I just ordered this from Azure Standard, but I'm pretty sure you can get it on Amazon. And I think you can maybe even get this at Whole Foods as well, or Sprouts, or Natural Grocers, whatever you have in your area. Add that in there. The lid on. I'm excited to try this. Okay, and then let's turn it on. That's good. This is a high-powered Vitamix. It does not take a very long time to mix it up. So let's see what it looks like. I don't know how well this is going to go with sausage, but that is really, really good. This would be delicious to marinate chicken in. If you add some chicken breast or chicken thighs, this would be an amazing, amazing marinade because the buttermilk in this would actually help tenderize the chicken. So this is our canned turkey meat. It is just cubed turkey breasts, already pre-cooked, just needs to be heated up. I think we're gonna do that instead of sausage. I think the Polish sausage and the cilantro jalapenos, I don't think those 2 flavors are gonna go well together. So I'm going on a limb and we're gonna use turkey. It is time to get supper started. It is almost 6 o'clock. I decided that I was going to stay home and try to get some work done. So Stephen went to the project site to get some stuff done. Anyways, we're going to take a huge pivot from doing this with a pasta, and I'm going to kind of do like a Mexican theme night. So we're still going to use the turkey breast. We're still going to use this delicious sauce that we made, but instead of doing it with pasta, we're going to do it with some tortillas that I found in the fridge that need to get eaten. And we're also going to make some refried beans. So I have some pinto beans from my pantry. I'm going to half this recipe. And the recipe that I am using is from this cookbook, and it is on page 129. It's her refried beans. I've made this recipe so many times, and it is so delicious, but I'm going to be cutting it in half because we don't need a lot of them, and I only want to use 1 pint. The original recipe calls for 4 cups of pinto beans, and we have probably about 2 cups in here. We're going to get started with the pinto beans first, and then we're going to add the turkey to the jalapeno dip. So I'm going to use some lard. I'm going to probably use about 2 tablespoons of the lard. You can also use bacon grease in this as well if you don't have lard. I would imagine if you don't consume pork products, you could probably use tallow also. The other thing we need to do is strain our pinto beans. These are just some pinto beans that I canned. I think I potentially did a video on it. If I didn't do a video on the pinto beans, I for sure did a video on the black beans, and you just can them the exact same way. And then I just give them a quick little rinse. I don't think I'm supposed to be filming right now because I forgot to press the record button as I literally made the refried beans. So what I did to get the beans to this point, which is pretty much almost done, if you want to use a chopped onion in this, what you're going to do is actually saute that onion in the lard and then add everything else. But I just omitted the onion because Stephen's not a fan of onion chunks in his refried beans. So what I did is I added the beans to that melted lard. Then we added 3 cloves of garlic. I added more because we like garlic. I added 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika. I'm just looking at the recipe as I'm telling you guys what I did. And then 1 teaspoon of cumin. I'm realizing I actually forgot to add one thing. I added 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And one thing that we need to add in here now is some salt, because I forgot to add the salt, and we need to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So these have been cooking for about 5 minutes and they look like this. So I'm going to put them back onto the heat with that salt. I have a potato masher here. Gonna get some milk out also. So what we're gonna do is take a potato masher and we're just gonna mash these beans. Again, they've been cooking for about 5 minutes on a low heat. So if you cooked your beans today and you have the bean cooking water, save a little bit of that water because you're gonna use it at this point to kind of make them a little bit more creamier. I was using canned beans, so I don't have that. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of milk to this, and it will help thin them out a little bit. So I'm probably going to add about, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon of whole milk to this. You can use water also if you like. You just want it to be really smooth. Refried beans look disgusting, but they are delicious. I actually have my burner turned off right now because this pot is really hot. I think that's good enough texture. And we're gonna add some cheese to this. Because this is pretty hot, we're gonna add about 1/2 cup of shredded smoked cheese on top of here and just kind of melt this. I'm gonna turn this back on to an extremely low heat and we're gonna melt that cheese on the refried beans. So I want to soften up my tortillas because they've been in the fridge for a very long time. They need to get softened up. So what I'm going to do is wet a rag, put these in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and I'll do that right before we're ready to use them. I'm not going to do it right now. But right now I am going to get our turkey started. I'm going to take our canned turkey breasts. This is beautiful turkey stock in it. You can definitely save it and use it for a different recipe. I'm just going to strain it. I know, horrible. We just don't need it, unfortunately. I think that 1 can should be enough. I think that should be enough meat for us. I am not gonna rinse the turkey though, just rinsing the jar out. I'm gonna turn our burner on to a medium, and we're gonna add some butter. We're also gonna put some avocado oil, and we're gonna get that melted. But this is what our refried beans look like right now. We've got that beautiful cheese melted on top of them. So they're all cooked. I'm gonna turn the heat off and just take them off the heat. We're recording, perfect. All right, our butter's melted. Just spreading the oil and the butter around the pan. We're gonna add our canned turkey. We don't need to cook this for very long because this turkey is already cooked. We're just heating it up a little bit. It's probably gonna end up shredding a little bit and not staying in these clumps. Okay, that's good. Just wanted to heat it up a little bit, kind of lightly brown it. We are not gonna add all of this. I would say maybe we're gonna add about half of it and just kind of eyeball it. And I have my stovetop on pretty low heat. So that's about half. And then we'll just stir it in. This would be an amazing St. Patrick's Day recipe because it's very green. Oh, it smells amazing though. It smells so good. Let's give this experiment a little taste. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off the heat because I don't want it to cook too much. It obviously has a little bit of that jalapeno spice. If you don't like too much spice, you can add less jalapenos. Like maybe if you don't really even like spice at all, you could maybe not even add the jalapenos and just use like the chilies in that. But that's really, really good. It definitely has a cilantro taste, and it's like cilantro and creamy with a little bit of heat. That is going to taste amazing wrapped in a tortilla, like a level up of a taco. Really, really good. The rest of this, I'm going to put in the fridge. I'm going to take some chicken breasts out of my freezer, defrost them, and I'm going to marinate the chicken in this. And then I will bake it because that's really, really good. So today we had a little bit of a unplanned meal prep day. So we have an amazing supper tonight that we were able to use even more of our pantry stuff. And then we have our supper already prepped for tomorrow. I will come back tomorrow and I will show you the rest of tomorrow's meal. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning. It's time to get this soup in the crock pot. I accidentally deleted the recipe link yesterday. So I had to scroll through quite a bit of recipes to find the one that we're using. Put into the crock pot. And I think it says to put it on low. So we're gonna leave that in here for about 4 hours. And then after 4 hours, we're gonna come back. And I think that's when we add the cheese. Yeah, so after 4 hours, we're gonna come and we're going to immersion blend this. After we immersion blend it, we're gonna add some heavy cream and some cheese to this and then let it go for another hour. So quick and easy meal for me today, which I have a pretty busy day today. Thankful that we got that prepped last night. I also wanna let you guys know, last night's supper was amazing. Steven said to me that that's probably one of his new favorite recipes now. It is so, so good. I will see you guys back in 4, maybe 5 hours to get this pureed and move on to the next step. So it has definitely been over the 4-hour mark. I just put it on low and just let it go. It is now almost 3 o'clock. So we're gonna move to the second step. This is what it's looking like right now. Perfect. So we're gonna get the immersion blender out and we're gonna immersion blend this. After I immersion blend it, I realized that I probably should have put this into a blender and blended this up because it was still kind of chunky. So I would recommend, if you have a blender, definitely put this in the blender to make it super, super smooth. So we need 8 ounces of cheese. Now the recipe, because it is a Gouda cheese recipe, it obviously suggests to use Gouda. We're gonna use smoked cheddar. Like I always say, it's gonna be fine. We also need some heavy cream. Now the recipe says to use 8 ounces of cheese. I don't know if we have 8 ounces in here. I'm gonna measure it. We might need to shred a little bit more cheese. It's 7.9 ounces of cheese. That's amazing that we got literally 8 ounces to the dot. Let's get my measuring cup because we need half a cup of heavy whipping cream, or heavy cream, not heavy whipping cream, just heavy cream. I ended up grating a little bit more cheese because I want to have a little bit more when we go to eat the soup, just to kind of put on top of this soup. Plus, I just want to add a little bit more into the soup because I never ever go by the directions on the recipe when it comes to cheese. I always add with my heart, and my heart loves cheese. So we're gonna add in the half a cup. I believe it's half a cup. I'm gonna double check the recipe here. Yes, we're gonna add in half of a cup of our heavy cream. And I'm just gonna do another quick little immersion blender with the cream. Now we're gonna add our 8 ounces of cheese into here. And we'll stir that around. I want to give this a little bit of a taste test just to make sure that our salt is good and our seasonings. I'm going to add a touch bit more salt and a little bit more pepper. I think I'm going to add a little bit of liquid smoke. I'm going to add a touch bit, like very, very touch, like maybe a 1/4 teaspoon, not even a 1/4 teaspoon. Like 2 drops. And we'll stir that in and then give it another taste test. I just really want it to be really smoky. Okay, cover this up. We still have it on a low heat, so we're gonna cook this for another hour on that low heat. In the recipe that I am loosely following, there are actually directions for doing this on a stovetop if you do not have a crock pot. But I'm thinking this recipe would be so perfect to turn it on before you go to work in the morning, and then when you get home, all you have to do is just the final step, which is add the cheese and the heavy cream, and then just cook it for another hour while you kind of decompress from getting home from work. So I think this is a perfect pantry crock pot meal. Like, it is really good. So I'm excited about tonight. I will come back after the hour and I will show you guys what it looks like getting served up. So I am having so much fun with this year's pantry challenge. I'm really loving having so many empty jars in my dishwasher. It's really just getting me ready for this upcoming gardening season, and I'm so excited about it. I think I'm actually going to start some of my seeds next week. I need to get my celery started and I need to get my artichokes started. Those are things that take a really long time to grow and to start. I think celery takes almost 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to germinate. It's a really long thing, but I love growing my own celery. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys. All right, we're back home and it's time for supper. Can't wait. When we were gone, I just put this on the warm feature because it was already done. I also made some toast, so I'm gonna have some toast with mine. I love dipping bread in soup. I wish we had croutons, but we don't have any. Steven ate all the croutons. And we can even top this with a little bit more cheese too. I don't think I'll top mine with cheese, but yummy. There it is. Thanks again for watching, guys.